Sunday. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of True Story Live. Tonight's episode is entitled Benefits of Music. Really looking forward to this one. This one written by our wonderful friend, Marisa, from the Nez Lover channel, who has joined us on the panel, and we are forever grateful. It has been awesome to have her. And she will also be reading the write-up in just a minute. And Glenn is not with us tonight, unfortunately. And she will also be... Still has a lot of stuff going on over there on his end, but we understand. We wish him well, and he will be back as soon as possible. So sorry for all the Glenn fans out there, but he will not be with us. But we will still carry on as much as we can in his absence. But I will introduce the other two members of the panel. First, my name is Cripps. Jason Cripps, and my friends call me Cripps because I'm from Michigan originally, and I like it that way. Also because there are a lot of Jasons, and so when I've worked at different places, I went by my last name just to keep it all clear. And it stuck, so there you go. All right, let's introduce Marisa first, who is doing the write-up, as I said. And hello, Marisa. Say hello to the peoples.
Hello to the peoples. Thank you, everybody, for coming and everybody who's catching that replay. Hello to Bobby, and hello to Floyd Bingo, and hello to Sheba. Thank you so much. Some of my Nez peeps already showed up. Thank you so much. Yeah, boo, no Glenn tonight. I don't like that, but I understand Glenn has to do. I'm a Glenn fan. I can't help it. But glad to be here and looking forward to diving into tonight's conversation about music.
Well, fantastic. I'm looking forward to it as well. And also, we have my amazing wife, Jennifer. Say hello to the peoples, please.
Howdy do, peoples. Howdy do. My stomach's bothering me a little bit. I don't know what's going on, but pray for my tummy. Yeah, but I'm in a great mood. Great mood.
Yeah, you have been in a great mood all weekend.
Yahoo!
Wonderful. I mean, not that that's rare or anything.
You can tell him I'm usually grumpy. No, I'm just kidding. Let's be real. This show is about being authentic.
Yeah, that's right. Well, if the way you act is grumpy, then there must be something wrong with my perception meter.
He'd be like, I definitely don't want to see her grumpy.
That's right. No,
the real grumpy.
I would rather not. I'd rather not. Okay, normally we would say hello to everyone in the chat, but Marisa already did that. So we will say hello to everyone in the chat as they come in. And yeah, so that's usually we have a little bit longer of an introduction, but without Glenn, it cuts down on the time a little bit. Also, the time of the broadcast, because we have one less person to ask questions, even though his questions are pretty usually brief. Yeah, so there we go. All right, so without further ado, one more thing before we get started. Please be sure and visit Nez Lover's channel. Most of the people in here are Nez peeps so far, so I don't need to tell them, but this is for the playback. If you haven't visited Nez Lover's channel, please do yourself a favor. Mostly what she does on the channel is art and a little bit of comedy, a little bit of humor here and there, and also
some singing.
Some fantastic singing, which ties directly into our topic for tonight, the benefits of music, and there are definitely benefits of Nez Lovers singing, at least for me.
Absolutely.
I think you guys would enjoy it if you haven't given yourself the great gift of that. Okay? All right. Marisa, if you're ready, let's get this thing rolling. Benefits of music. Take it away.
Don't worry that it's not good enough for anyone else to hear. Just sing a song. That is the song I picked for tonight's topic, Benefits of Music, a little favorite by Joe Raposo from vintage Sesame Street back in the day. Yes. Okay, then. Let's start out with everything has a frequency. Even we are made up of frequencies on a molecular level. Cymatics is the science of visualizing audio frequencies. One can observe with the naked eye the effects of different musical frequencies on sand, salt, or water in cymatics experiments. No speculation or theory there. Plants and animals have been observed responding to music, and most certainly us humans as well. Some of my happiest childhood memories come from music, whether it was my lounge singer uncle practicing his set of standards, my DJ uncle testing out his sound system on his huge homemade speakers, my grandmother playing her organ and singing hymns, or my mother, who sounded like a classically trained soprano reaching those high C's, singing in church with perfect acoustics. Who doesn't fondly remember singing or being sung to at a birthday or bedtime? How many of us remember belting out holiday classics in sweaters with cocoa by a roaring fire? Even though I grew up surrounded by narcissists and enablers, music was always there for me. Radio, tapes, record players, and singing were my go-tos in order to de-stress, escape negative drama, express my feelings, and hone a gift passed on to me by my very talented musical family and by God. With all the troubles, challenges, obstacles, and negative we experience in our lives, I truly believe music is there to be our lifeline and companion. I think that in every day we can find a moment to use music to celebrate, mourn, worship, ponder, relax, encourage, and heal, as well as many other positive things too numerous to mention. I offer up some quotes and invite my co-panelists and audience to submit their own thoughts, experiences, and questions along the way. I will submit my own as the questions come up during our conversation. Excuse me. According to an article on healthline.com by Rebecca Joy Stanbro, MFA, and medically reviewed by Deborah Rose Wilson, PhD, MSN, RN, IBCLC, AHG/BH, BC /CHT. I had to list all of those. The woman worked hard for those credentials, so I thought I better list them. There's a solid scientific evidence to prove that singing is, in fact, good for your body and your mind. And I think that can just also be attributed to music as well. Relieves stress, stimulates the immune response, increases pain threshold, may improve snoring, improves lung function, helping COPD, asthma, cystic fibrosis, cancer, MS, quadriplegia, develops a sense of belonging and connection, enhances memory in people with dementia, helps with grief, improves mental health and mood, helps improve speaking abilities, including people with autism, Parkinson's, aphasia after stroke, and stuttering. Music literally changes the brain. Neurological researchers have found that listening to music triggers the release of several neurochemicals that play a role in brain function and mental health, like dopamine, a chemical associated with pleasure and reward centers, stress hormones like cortisol, serotonin and other hormones related to immunity, oxytocin, a chemical that fosters the ability to connect to others. First of the quotes I get from Scripture. Oh, sing unto the Lord a new song. Sing unto the Lord all the earth. Psalm 96, verse 1, KJV. Where words fail, music speaks. That's from Hans Christian Andersen. Music is the medicine of the mind. John A. Logan. Everything in life is vibration. Albert Einstein. Music drives you. It wakes you up. It gets you pumping. And at the end of the day, the correct tune will chill you down. Dimebag Darrell. Don't you love Einstein and Dimebag Darrell right up against each other?
Right next to each other.
Music brings about harmony. Confucius. Music expresses that which cannot be said and on which it is impossible to be silent. Victor Hugo. Every song is like a painting. Dick Dale. One good thing about music, when it hits you, you feel no pain. Bob Marley. If music be the food of love, play on. William Shakespeare. The aim and final end of all music should be none other than the glory of God and the refreshment of the soul. Johann Sebastian Bach. And then I pose some questions. Do you enjoy music? What types of music resonate with you the most? Are you musically inclined? Do you sing or play an instrument? If so, do you sing or play to invoke a certain feeling or to evoke an expression of your current feelings? Is there a difference? And if so, what are the differences? In what ways has music affected you in a positive way? Do you notice a tangible difference in mental, emotional, physical, and/or spiritual health? What kind of music is most helpful in stressful situations? Do you respond differently to live performance of music as opposed to recorded listening to a tape, record, CD, video, or MP3? If so, what are the differences in those experiences? Have you ever had or known someone who underwent music therapy? If so, what were the benefits that you noticed? And lastly, can we benefit from music in a therapeutic fashion without seeing a music therapist?
Hmm.
As someone who is musically inclined, I can personally attest that music is an essential tool in my emotional toolkit to get through all that this life has to offer. I encourage everyone to partake of music each and every day, particularly in the kind that uplifts and encourages. If you give yourself a chance, the music will do its part. Thank God for music. Two more quotes. This one's for Glenn. The music could even penetrate his remote world, more distant than the moon itself. It could even perform miracles. And that's from our friend Paulo Coelho. And lastly, be mindful, be musical, and stay out of trouble. That's by Stephanie Douglas, my musical YouTube friend who teaches high school music. She's a singer, songwriter, player of many instruments, and is currently studying to be a music therapist.
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Wow.
Jinx.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Marisa. Very nice. Before we get into all the questions and everything, I just wanted to say I'm glad that we were talking before the broadcast, and I was saying that I was aware of this Cymatics, and these videos. Anybody can look these up, and I'm glad that she said, this isn't a. Well, she didn't say it's not a conspiracy or anything, but these are things that anybody can find on YouTube. They're not hidden or anything. Apparently, the controllers don't care if we know that frequencies are important in the world. I mean, obviously, radio works on frequency. All kinds of things do. But yeah, these are fascinating things when they put sand or salt on a speaker and play different types of music, and it makes all these different shapes. I don't know. I'm just fascinated by it. So if you have a chance, just do a look up on your YouTube and type in Cymatics on there, and you'll have a little rabbit hole to go down to see how interesting that is. Well, it may not be interesting to everyone, but it was to me. So,
Same.
yeah. So thank you for sharing that. There's a lot to talk about in this write-up, so I really appreciate it. All right. So Nez says, before the first question, some of my happiest childhood memories come from music, whether it was my lounge singer uncle practicing his set of standards, my DJ uncle testing out his sound system on his huge homemade speakers, my grandmother playing her organ and singing hymns, or my mother, who sounded like a classically trained soprano reaching those high C's, singing in church with perfect acoustics. Yeah, so perfect acoustics. I've been in a lot of different churches, and especially the larger, older churches. With they still have the wood pews and all of that. When I was a kid, I used to if I was in there by myself, I would sing in there or say things out loud to hear it come back. I like the sound of those. And some of the larger cathedrals, it's even better. And there was a lady, I don't remember her name, but she took recording equipment into a cathedral and she wanted to record no sounds. I mean, she went in there by herself and she didn't make any sounds. She just put the thing on record, and it was interesting what it picked up. It was almost like the cathedral itself had a frequency about it. This inanimate object, this building had a sound to it. Yeah, so I'm pretty fascinated by that. So after Nez's quote, the first question is, who doesn't fondly remember singing or being sung to at a birthday party or bedtime? And then the follow-up question, how many of us remember belting out holiday classics in sweaters with Cocoa by a roaring fire? We'll start with Jen on this one. Jen, who doesn't fondly remember singing or being sung to at a birthday or bedtime? Start with that one first, then I'll give you the follow-up.
Oh, do I need to talk about birthdays or bedtime?
If you can talk about whatever you want. That was the question. Oh, sorry. Before we do that, I just want to say hello to a couple people that popped in.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry about that, Jen. So welcome to the Light of Christ. He's already been welcomed in the chat, but I didn't welcome him on air. Kimba M jumped into the chat. Welcome, Kimba. We're glad that you're here. And of course, our friend Janet is in the chat as well as Stephanie Perkinson is in the chat as well. So if you don't know any of these wonderful folks that popped in, please make them feel welcome in the chat. We would greatly appreciate it. And we're glad you guys stopped by. Thank you so much. Okay, go ahead, Jen. Birthday or bedtime. Did your parents or anyone, grandma or anything, sing to you? Well, probably most everybody has had someone sing to them on their birthday.
Yeah, birthdays for sure. Not necessarily bedtime.
Right.
I will say my dad taught me how to whistle, and we used to always whistle together, and that was such a great memory. And he'd get really fancy with his whistling. So when I would start a song and he'd pick it up and he'd harmonize, and sometimes he would play this game where he would be so funny with his whistling.
Yeah.
That it would make me laugh. And of course, when you're laughing and trying to whistle, it doesn't really work.
It doesn't. Or if you have saltines in your mouth, it doesn't work.
Yeah, that too. And my mom cannot sing worth a hoot. I got my singing chops from my dad and his sisters. But she, I think she wanted to sing to me when I was little, like if she rocked me, but she couldn't sing. So she would make these noises that were calming to me, but it was definitely not singing. I'll give you guys a clip. She would go, and she would just repeat that over and over and over. And so it wasn't like necessarily pretty,
right,
but it was like a tone, some tones.
Frequency.
And and it was comforting.
Still soothing frequencies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that paired with her rocking me in the rocking chair, it was very, very comforting and calming.
Sure.
And I've just always loved to sing in church and stuff and choir at school and hearing people sing music is just golly. But yeah, when it comes to singing, yeah, the happy birthday songs were usually like, I remember just crowds of kids and some of them being silly and some screaming. It wasn't really like a super pleasurable thing. It's just like, what is going on? People starting at the wrong time. And that's really funny. But it was always, not that it was like super terrible or like torturous, but it was still wonderful, wonderful to get people to sing happy birthday to you.
There you go.
So yeah, absolutely. My dad has a nice singing voice, but he didn't sing as much. His sisters did, though, my aunts.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jen. I'm going to go to Marisa next, but I just think it's interesting that apparently Dwight D. Eisenhower's wife, when he was president, is attributed to being the one who started the whole birthday celebration, singing the song.
Ah,
She didn't write the song, but she was very interested in trying to make holidays popular. Uh, and there were some holidays that she tried to make national holidays that didn't quite work out. But she claims that she was responsible for the birthday song and people celebrating their birthdays in America. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the rumor. And I don't know in other countries. I've just never thought of this, whether they celebrate their birthdays, like we do here in the States or not. Interesting. Anyway, Marisa, I know you filled some of this in the write up, but I'm sure people would be interested to hear your side of this. So, what about singing birthday or bedtime? And then the follow up question: do you enjoy belting out holiday classics and sweaters with cocoa by a roaring fire?
I have many memories from my childhood that involve music, having many musical people in my family. It was to the point where somebody was singing something just pretty much at any given moment, whether it was just goofing around or singing along to the stereo or practicing whatever they were going to do. Or like my uncles with their various jobs. And my grandmother would, whenever she was stressed out, she would go to her organ and play.
Yeah,
I always was happy to see her do that because that always made me feel a lot better
yeah,
too. And it's contagious. It really, really is. Of course, I remember birthdays and people would try to harmonize
yeah,
and show off.
yeah.
And even though I personally don't celebrate Christmas anymore, I do
Okay,
remember many fun times with people, singing carols and hymns and
sure,
things like that.
sure, sure.
So I have a lot of good dopamine and
Yeah,
hormone release in my brain just thinking about those positive times back then.
yeah,
I don't really remember being sung to so much as a young child, but there was
right,
so much singing going on anyway.
right,
It really didn't matter.
right.
So, and I always had, and when I got older, I would have the radio on, even if I wasn't supposed to. I'd have it on real low. So,
Sure,
couldn't keep me
nice.
away from music.
You
Couldn't keep me.
right.
rebel.
Yeah.
I sang every
Thank you.
day, one way or another.
Thank you, Marisa. We want to say hello to Rachel Menifee that popped in the chat, and I started asking questions before I said hello to her. So I apologize, Rachel. We're glad that you're here. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Okay. Okay, my turn. So, yes, of course, birthday. We're not Jehovah's Witnesses, so there was not a ban on birthdays and Christmas and all that stuff for me. But yeah, I would agree with Jen. Birthday song is, kind of plain, and I mean, it's very popular, obviously. But there it is. Bedtime? No, my parents. Now, maybe I just don't remember. Maybe when I was an infant, maybe I was sung to if I was fussy or something like that. But as a toddler, whenever my memory started, I don't ever remember being sung to. They did read to me a lot. That's different, a different category there, in my opinion. My grandmother, so my dad's side of the family, the Cripps side, were very musical. My grandmother, my dad's mom, she played piano. She played piano in church for a number of years, and they had a piano at the house. And so I would sit with her as a youngster, and she would play songs, and a lot of them were hymns. She was a very spiritual person, so she loved singing hymns. So I got to enjoy that, but that was not at bedtime. That was just, random times during the middle of the day. Now, the other part, how many of us remember belting out holiday classics and sweaters with cocoa by a roaring fire? Yeah, not always the roaring fire or the cocoa or the sweater, but yes, holiday classics. I love, 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 love that time of year.
Yes.
And I respect people that decide for whatever reason, like Marisa, to not celebrate Christmas. I just ask for the same. If I decide that that all things are permissible according to Paul in Scripture. Now, if someone's anti-Christmas, then I won't invite them over for eggnog and Christmas songs, and so they don't have to see my decorated Christmas tree. Totally understandable. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I realize, it's not Santa that brings warmth to my heart every Christmas. And I also realize that Jesus likely was not born in December, but and we celebrate Jesus' birth every day. But there's something about the holidays, even knowing its pagan roots, for me growing up with it in my different families, and people gathering together and opening gifts and just being around people. And you can do that without there being a Christmas tree and exchanging gifts. Obviously, we can do that. But the music in particular that has been created around that holiday, including a lot of music that celebrates the birth of the Christ child. It's just so fascinating to me that the people that are really militant against Christmas, the gospel is being sung in Christmas music, and it's being still to this day pumped in malls and shops and things like that around this time of the year. So whether people want to hear it or not, they're getting little bits and pieces of the gospel in some of the music. Now, Rocking Around the Christmas Tree has no gospel in it. And it's not one of my favorite songs, or Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. Okay, so there are obviously exceptions to the rule, but I just love it. I do feel cheery, and the idea of peace on earth, goodwill toward men. No, that isn't about Christmas. It's about the birth of the Christ child, and that fills my heart with glee. And the music just kind of adds all that into a nice little Christmassy bow. Love it, love it, love it. I also do like weird Christmas sweaters. I don't have any right now, but I have in the past. My mother would always get me a tracksuit every Christmas, and I don't understand why she would do this, but every year I could count on her getting a new colorful tracksuit that I would probably only wear the top of, not the bottoms, every year. So anyway, I think it's a great tradition, the ugly Christmas sweaters. It's fantastic, and I love color. There we go. Was that too long?
It's just a little off topic.
A little off topic. It's tied into the music. It's tied into it. Sound like Porky Pig a little bit right there. Hello,
you're so
to
cute.
Thank you. Hello to my friend John Dons out there from California. Welcome, John. And yeah, so if anyone wants to weigh in the chat what their favorite Christmas song is, or what there's a question coming.
I was gonna add something to my memory.
Please do.
It popped up while you were talking. So I used to love, with my friends when I was little, we would do rounds, like with Row, Row, Row Your Boat, or some of the other like nursery rhyme songs. That was always so much fun.
Yeah.
I just remembered that. I was like, oh my gosh, loved it.
Yeah.
And I forgot too, when you guys had mentioned, our churches used to go door to door in our neighborhoods and sing Christmas carols. And it was one of my favorite things. And people don't do that anymore. I mean, I know that time has passed, and people don't like randos showing up at their door anymore. Leave me alone. They got their Ring cameras. Go away, carolers.
Yeah, especially post 2020. I mean, I guess if you show up at someone's door, they're going to ask you if you've been vaccinated. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, but it's such a wonderful thing. Anyway, and I used to do the bells at church too with my mom. That was really, really fun. The hand bells.
Oh my goodness!
Gosh, especially during the holidays.
Yes. So some churches started doing that, but I once witnessed a traveling group that did the bells. There were three girls, and they all wore gloves, and they had all these different sized bells, and the whole Christmas song was done just with bells, no vocals, just them picking up different bells and ringing them at different times together and in unison and blah, blah, blah. I don't think I've ever seen anything that fascinating as far as the use of bells in my entire life. Just
pretty cool.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, there we go. All right, we will continue. Now, these aren't questions, but I just want to go over what Marisa found as to the benefits of music to the body.
Jason, can I please answer a question from Sheba real quick? She's visually impaired and can't read the chat.
Well, of course.
Okay. We were talking about when Jesus was really born, and I said that many Bible scholars say during the Feast of Tabernacles, which occurs in September. Okay. That's all I wanted to say.
Cool. Where'd you go?
Sorry, I was taking a sip of my. I thought the question would go on longer. So I was like,
Radio
oh,
silence.
Oh, you.
Sorry about that.
We don't go on for 20 minutes. Please go on.
Okay. Thank you, Marisa. A little. Ooh, that hurt a little bit. A little. Wincing a little bit. Oh, I love it. All right. Number one, music relieves stress. Relieve stress. Now, I can attest to that. Certain types of music do that for me, and I'm sure there are a lot of people that use music for different purposes. But if you want to relieve stress, that definitely does that. Excuse me. Number two, stimulates the immune response. Totally believe that. Makes total sense to me. Music is so therapeutic, in my opinion, and yeah, I have no trouble believing that. Now, number three, increases pain threshold. Now, I don't know anything about this, but I find that fascinating. I might have to look that up a little bit. May improve snoring. So I'm assuming that means if you snore and you have music on, you'll snore less. I'm assuming that's what that means. Improves lung function, helps COPD, asthma, cystic fibrosis, cancer, MS, and quadriplegia. Number six, develops a sense of belonging and connection. Totally makes sense. That's ties into how I feel at Christmas time when singing with others. Number seven, that can happen anytime that you're singing with others, of course. Number seven, enhances memory in people with dementia. I agree with this. I've actually seen this. There was a video on YouTube a while back of an older guy who had dementia, and he was catatonic. And they would talk to him and no responses. And I think it was his daughter that figured this out, if I remember correctly. But they put headphones on him playing his favorite song. And you were actually seeing this transformation take place. He lifted his head up, his eyes opened, and he started, kind of humming along and kind of rocking back and forth to the music. So yeah, I almost started crying. That's just amazing to me that music has the ability to do that. Number eight, helps with grief. No trouble there. Number nine, improves mental health and mood. Yeah. Also, I have no trouble believing that. Number 10, helps improve speaking ability, including people with autism, Parkinson's, aphasia, afterstroke, and stuttering. I've seen some things about that as well. Music helps people that stutter specifically. Some of the other things I wasn't as aware of. There we go. I also want to go over at least the biblical quotes that Marisa added, because there's a lot in the Bible, and I'm sure if she listed every verse in Scripture that talks about music or singing to the Lord, we would have really not had room in the YouTube description, and we'd be here all night. But Psalms 96:1, sing unto the Lord a new song. Sing unto the Lord all the earth. There are lots of verses like that in Scripture. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so thank you for allowing me to go through all of that. I'll just read the last one of the quotes. The aim and final end of all music should be done other than the glory of God and the refreshment of the soul, by Johann Sebastian Bach. All right, so out of that, the first question is, do you enjoy music? What types of music resonates with you the most? I'm going to start with Marisa on this. I have an idea of what she's going to say, but I have heard her sing on her broadcast many different types of music. So I'll be fascinated by her answer. Let's have it, Marisa. Favorite types of music? What music resonates with you the most?
I enjoy many different genres of music, and anybody who's listened to my live streams can certainly attest to the fact that I go all over the place.
Right.
But I'm partial not only to my favorite musical group, the Monkees, and especially my favorite monkey of said group, Mr. Michael Nesmith, who has an outstanding catalog of work outside of the Monkees. I was always a Beatles fan. I enjoy classic rock. I enjoy maybe 70s and 80s is about the cutoff point for uh, that kind of for rock of, what was popular on the radio at the time.
Right.
90s was not a good time for me, and I don't think there was many good things coming out musically. A few things.
No.
I'll grant you Stone Temple Pilots and Nirvana. Okay, sure. But
Okay.
not a whole lot for me happened good musically in the 90s and pretty much after that.
Right.
I
agree
do
with
not
that part.
listen to modern music now. I won't do it. Last time I had it forced on me. I was either working some kind of job where the radio was on, or I was visiting Bobby, who's here in the chat, who always made me, and I use the words made me listen to whatever was popular at the time.
Right.
So I enjoy jazz, I enjoy blues, I enjoy big band, I enjoy some old country, not the new twangy, awful Shania Twain kind of stuff. I like the old, maybe old Hank Williams things like from
Johnny
the Grand
Cash.
Ole Opry, things like that.
Patsy
Love
Cline.
Patsy Cline.
Yeah.
I love reggae and ska and punk.
Yeah.
And show tunes. God knows I love my show tunes. It depends on what mood I'm in at any given moment.
Sure.
And I really can't say I have a favorite genre overall. It really is relative to how I'm feeling at the time.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. Thank you, Marisa. Appreciate that. That's a lot to work with there. Jennifer, do you enjoy music? What types of music resonates with you the most?
I was going to be like, I do not enjoy music. No, I'm just kidding. I love music.
That would be Glenn if he was here, just to be concerned.
I know, right?
Good night, everyone.
I am also all over the place. I usually say that the two musical genres I don't really gravitate toward would be country and rap.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of songs like within both those genres that are sort of nostalgic just from when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s. Not really a big fan of the current rap or country.
Right.
It's a little poppy for me. But I really like singer-songwriters, people that write their own music and play guitar. I like folk music. I was going to mention Patsy Cline as well, as Marisa did. Johnny Cash, to Simon and Garfunkel, Cat Stevens, Dave Matthews, Jewel, on and on it goes. But I really do have an appreciation for people that are singer-songwriters, where it's not like cookie cutter, someone else writing your lyrics, and there's no personal attachment. Well, I mean, I guess maybe sometimes there's a personal attachment. Somebody could pick out a song that somebody else writes that resonates with them, but I like when it's like connected. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was breaking up.
Yep, you're good.
So yeah, it's all over the place. Musicals, classical. My first concert was actually Ziggy Marley and the Wailers. When Marisa mentioned reggae, I was like, oh yeah. So yeah, just kind of all over the place. And music is kind of like me with clothes. With fashion, it depends on the mood I'm in, what I dress with, what I dress like, however I'm going to say that. So the same with music. I'll sort of assess my mood, where I am for the day, and it sort of deciphers what music I listen to.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah.
Awesome.
I love music.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Jen. So for the next hour and 20 minutes of the broadcast, I'll be talking about all the different types of music that I like.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, like the two ladies on the panel, I would agree about country music. I'm not as much a fan of the quote unquote new country. There are always a couple exceptions to the rule. There are a few new country singers that came along in that period of time that Marisa was describing in the 90s that came out with a song that might resonate with me. But overall, pretty much, at the end of the 70s, maybe partway through the 80s, as far as what's called country music, does not appeal to me. And there are several artists, though, before that. Both of you mentioned Patsy Cline, definitely up there on the list for me. Chris Christopherson actually had some what I would call country music. Johnny Cash, of course, Johnny Paycheck. There were several what I would consider really, really good country music. This was music I kind of grew up with. As I mentioned, my dad's family were all lovers of music and different types of music. My grandparents loved hymns and groups, and my dad liked groups. He liked a lot of different types of music too. So my grandpa would let us just pick albums out and listen to random people. Some of them I didn't even know who they were. And I really loved that. That was one of my favorite things. So I got exposed to a lot of different types of music. I like hymns, and I like some of the older, especially the older Christian quote unquote music. I also don't like. There are exceptions. There are some rap songs that I like, but in general, not a huge fan. And I disagree with Marisa a little bit. But she did kind of stave herself by mentioning a few of the '90s groups that were pretty good: Nirvana and Stone Temple Pilots. For me, also Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and Temple of the Dog, and I liked that type. Now, some of the music, she's absolutely right, was garbage. There was a group called Garbage that came out, didn't like them at all. So there we go. That worked. And I also agree that pretty much when we hit the year 2000, popular music, or what was considered popular, there's occasionally a song that comes out that's pretty good, but for the most part, it's also, in my opinion, garbage. Classical rock, and I like folk, like Simon and Garfunkel. There are some indie artists out there that sing that style of music right now, and I love those groups that are currently doing that. And I love, excuse the expression, but chick singers. I just had her name. Joan Baez.
Joni Mitchell?
Oh yeah, Joni Mitchell's one of them. Yep.
Tori Amos.
Tori Amos, yeah.
Gosh,
Alanis Morissette. That's just what I prefer. But then you have your Jim Croce but all those are older artists, and Gordon Lightfoot and things like that. So yeah, I could go on and on, literally, about that. I like classical music. I'll just say that a lot of the older stuff, like Bach and Mozart, and there are a lot of lesser known composers that really came out with some great music. When I'm really stressed out, that relaxes me. Don't even mind operas. I'm just fascinated by the artistry that it would take to do the music for that, let alone some of those soprano, the high C's that Marisa was talking about earlier. Yeah, fascinating stuff. So
Could I please say a quick hello to one of my favorite musicians that I didn't mention, Bo Star from the land of Ireland. I love you, Bo Star. Thank you for coming. Sorry, I didn't want to miss him. I didn't know how long he could be here. He's in Ireland. Thank you so much.
That's cool. Bo Star. Yeah, we saw him last night on your stream, and I've seen him around a couple times. So Bo Star, thank you for stopping by the broadcast tonight. We appreciate that. All right. Let me just check and make sure. Nathan Gruber, want to say hello to him too while we're stopped here for a second. Nathan is our friend from New Zealand who pops in from time to time. We're glad that you're here. Thank you for being here, buddy. Thank you. All right. Next question. Are you musically inclined? Do you sing or play an instrument? If so, do you sing or play to invoke a certain feeling or evoke an expression of your current feelings? Is there a difference? And if so, what are the differences? We're going reverse order. So, Jen, you first. Are you
All
musically
right.
inclined?
I would say yes, not
Yeah.
professionally. I used to really want to be in a band. I just love singing. Making music with people is something that's incredible. I've had a couple friends in the past where they were musically inclined and we'd write songs and stuff together and not perform anywhere, just play music together, hanging out with people.
Yeah.
It was really fun. Love, love, love to sing. I play a little ukulele. I need to practice more. And I used to play more guitar. Try learning piano. That didn't go over so well.
Yeah.
I was trying to learn later in life, I think when I was like 21. But I love the piano, absolutely love the piano. And I love finding harmonies when there's songs on or people are singing. And then what was the last part of the question?
Yeah, sure. Do you play and if you play an instrument or sing, what kind of expression are you trying to evoke, or do you play due to your current feelings? And then is there a difference? And if so, what is the difference?
I'd say it's both. Always. A lot of times I'll print out, the chords for a song that I've always loved that I haven't learned on the ukulele, one that I love to sing. So I do that, but sometimes it's to evoke sort of what I'm feeling at the moment. And it's one of the things I love about music because, and this is just an example, back when I was like in high school, broke up with a boyfriend and just was really sad. There was something, and I know you and I've talked about this, Cribs, but there was something about a really melancholy, sad song that would come on that sort of would help dig out the feelings that you were
Yes.
feeling.
Yes.
And you just kind of like sit in that song while it's being sung and it ministers to you. It's
It
like
does.
therapy.
It does.
Part of it's feeling like the artist that wrote the song or who was singing, you felt understood
Yeah.
or like you understood them. There's like a connection there. It's like intimacy in a way with someone that you don't really know.
Yeah. Good point.
um,
Good
but
point.
I tend to gravitate towards songs that I can relate to, that whether it's nostalgia or something I'm currently going through or something I'm healing from. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's always very connected to my emotions. But at the same time, songs that make you happy,
Yeah.
they have nostalgia with them as well. But sometimes I'll play, if I'm a little bit down, I'll try to pep myself up by listening to something that I know gets me jiving and wailing. Not
Yeah.
that song though. Never mind. I don't want to get that stuck in people's heads.
No.
So that is my answer.
Thank you, Jen. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, reverse order. So we're going to ask Marisa next, and then I'll go last on this one. Marisa, now I know the answer to this, but maybe
Yes.
not everyone does. Do you sing or play an instrument? If so, do you
For me,
sing
it's
or
both.
both? Okay.
I sing and I do play piano and keyboard. I
Wonderful.
was dragged to piano lessons by my grandmother, God rest her soul. She wanted me so badly to play piano and organ, and I play by ear, but I really bucked when I was made to go and try to learn music and notes and music theory and all of that.
Yeah.
Much later in life, when I returned to college as an adult, for my grandmother, I took music class and learned to read music, and so I'm glad I did that. So I can do both.
Yeah.
And as far as why I enjoy music, whether I'm playing it or singing it or listening to it, I do it to both either enjoy the mood that I'm in or to attain a mood that I wish I was in. If I'm sad, sometimes you wallow in your sadness by listening to sad music. And then when you're done being sad, you want to feel happy. And what
Yeah.
better way to do that than to get into some things that are inspirational, that are motivational or
Yeah.
encouraging? And Jen brought up an excellent point. There is an intimacy, and you may not personally know these artists, but you're putting your soul and your spirit into your music, and that's going to reach out and touch you. So
Yeah.
there is a level of intimacy when someone shares. And I think Bostar, as a performer, and Floyd as a singer can certainly agree that you do share yourself when you're
Right.
singing, when you're playing, when you're performing. So there is a
Yeah.
level of intimacy there. And I've found a lot of songs during my teenage years that either explained how I was feeling as if they knew what I was thinking, or I could relate to going through, love songs and lost love and longing for love and things like that.
Right.
Yes. So all of the above.
Wow. Okay. Thank you, Marisa. Now, my answer on this one won't be as long because I do not play an instrument. I do enjoy singing. I saw a couple people in the chat saying they couldn't sing their way through a paper bag or, other things like that. And I've heard a lot of people, kind of self-deprecating about their singing ability and things like that. But I really honestly feel like, especially if the person is a horrible singer, but they're alone, I sing anyway. My goodness, it's fun, it's helpful, especially if you know the song. And I wouldn't call myself terrible necessarily. I definitely can harmonize. In other words, if Marisa wanted to sing a song, if it was something that I knew very well, I could match her pitch and it would sound decent, in my opinion, and especially in churches when a group of people is singing. And I was in choir in the church growing up, and so I'm okay at that. And certain karaoke songs that I'm familiar with, like Neil Diamond and anyone in a lower register, Barry White, people like that, I can usually sing a passable karaoke song. But in general, no. My dad is the singer in the family, and he has an excellent baritone voice and has used it. It's declined a little bit as he's gotten older, but he's still at it as part of a gospel quartet and has been since he was like 16 years old. So that's a long time to be a singer, but he does that, but not me. Now, as far as when I do sing or listen to music, just like these two wonderful ladies said, I listen to. I mean, Jen nailed it in my opinion. She said that when she listens, she's in a certain type of mood. Like if she's sad, then she'll listen to sad songs. I think they call them sad sap music. And there's a lot of it out there, like The Cure, the Church, and things like that. Yeah, and I have friends that would hear me listen to that and say, "Oh, why are you listening to that? It's so depressing." Yeah,
Right?
yeah. It's depressing to certain people that don't get it, but to me, like Jen said, I think you described it perfectly. That if you feel sad, you hear a sad song and you think that you're not alone, and you think
Yeah.
that someone else is expressing your emotions in words and music, and it actually lifts your spirits. At least for me, it does.
Yeah. Same.
So I agree with that completely. I do love a lot of happy music, and in fact, Nez played a song and sang with it last night, and Jen was singing it too on our end here in the apartment. And Paul Simon, if I need a little cheer up, that's probably my favorite happy music. I mean, he does sing some sadder songs, especially with Simon and Garfunkel, like "Bridge Over Troubled Water." In my opinion, is not a super happy song.
Sound of Silence. Oh,
Yeah, that's another one. But Paul Simon as a singular artist, so they Nez did one song from him last night. Forget which one. Was it 50 Ways? Is that the one? Or Slip Sliding Away?
Homeward
Slip
Bound. Oh,
Sliding
that's what
Away.
it was. Yeah.
Slip Sliding Away. One of my favorites. Happy,
Oh,
happy music.
Scarborough Fair. Oh, yeah. So good.
Oh, love it. Love it. That's actually two songs in one. I'm sure you knew that, Jen. So it's Scarborough Fair and Canticle. At the
I did
same
not know
time.
that.
Yeah,
Oh my
you were
goodness.
saying you like the rounds. That's a round song. They're two different songs, but they're sung over top of each other when they were together.
Huh.
Probably one of my favorites of the by them. Yeah. So both, I would say both to, and if I'm singing, it's to evoke a feeling or express current feelings at the same time. So that's my answer to that. All right. Let me just check the chat, see if there's anyone else. Paul Johnstone came in. Hello, Paul. Welcome. We're glad that you're here. Hope everyone makes you feel welcome in the chat. Thank you for coming. And I think that might be it. Scrolling down to the bottom. There we go. Well, thank you for everyone that came out tonight. We do appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, next question. In what ways has music affected you in a positive way? Did you notice a tangible difference in mental, emotional, physical, and or spiritual health? I'll go first on this one. I know I just went, but we're trying to have everyone be first. In what ways has music affected you in a positive way? Well, just like I was talking about, when I'm depressed and listening to kind of a sad song, it does lift my spirits. But also, if I need to be cheered up, if I want to be cheered up, there's plenty of types of music out there that do cheer me up. I love road trips, and when I'm on a road trip, like when I'm driving through mountains, where I wouldn't listen to country music at home necessarily, I'll listen to bluegrass. For some reason, when I'm driving through the mountains, that's the kind of music I want to listen to, and it puts me in a certain mood, and I love that. I just, whatever type of mood I'm in, I find the type of music that I want to listen to, and it, in a tangible way, does make a difference in my mental, emotional, physical, and or spiritual health. So yeah, pretty short answer there, but yes, music does affect me in a positive way in every way that I can imagine. The physical part. I was going to say, well, maybe not the physical part, but I remember that sometimes when I'm stressed out or tense physically, my body is feeling tense. Certain types of music do help soothe that a little bit. So yes, yes, yes. All right, we'll go with Marisa next. Backwards order. Marisa, what about you? What ways has music affected you in a positive way?
Liz.
Marisa?
Did we lose you? No, she's still there.
She's muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hit the button, but it didn't unmute me. Music's been there for me every step of the way when I've had times where I was alone or felt alone, because you can live in a household of people and still be alone. I think you guys all know what that's like. It was always there for me to go anywhere I wanted to go. And I wanted to feel happy and loved and free and full of hope and possibility of things I wanted to do and accomplish. And if I wasn't getting support from the people that were around me at any given moment, I knew I could always, of course, not only just go to the Lord and in my spirituality, but I think one of the ways God does that is through music.
Yeah.
I absolutely think that is one of the ways God works, and it is spiritual. It most certainly affects me in that way. I've had migraines come on me, and soft, soothing music like classical will help me. I've had times of tension or stress, and if I just listen to something that's old and familiar and upbeat, that's helped me. Beatles has so many, and Monkeys for me. They have songs for pretty much every mood. So I have my pick just within those two groups there. But if I'm in a really good mood, then I'll head to the show tunes. Absolutely.
Yes.
But I have noticed the change in my health, in my well-being, in my attitude, in just overall health. I believe it's benefited me greatly over the years, whether I'm singing it, playing it, or listening to it, or experiencing someone do that live. And we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Thank you, Marisa. Jen, in what ways has music affected you in a positive way?
Gosh, that's a big ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Marisa. Music has just been such an integral part of my life. I was talking to one of the little girls that I nanny, and we wonder a lot together and ask each other just rando questions and research things and all kinds of stuff. She's very curious like me. And I just posed the question to her, like, what do you think the world would be like without music? It was such a horrifying thought. I was like, oh my
Right.
gosh, that just seems so horrible. Because it's just such a part of our lives. What was the question again? I sort of went off.
No, it's in what ways has music affected you in a positive way? Did you notice a tangible difference in mental, emotional, physical, and or spiritual health?
Yeah, I'll share two things real quick. So I think a few years prior to me leaving my ex, my radio broke in my car. And by this point, like we had a business and we drove to the same place every day. We worked all the time. And I kind of set up a boundary and just drove myself to work and to home in my own car by myself because I just needed space. And my radio broke, and I went a couple of years like really not listening to music, which was really sad. And very
Yeah.
unlike me because my whole life music has just been such a big part
Yeah.
of me. And like at work we would listen to music, we'd have it playing in our store. But it was like all of these things that, music gives you hope. And I was such in a place of hopelessness
Mm-hmm.
that to hear hope in music and to be in such a dark place, it just made it worse, which
Yeah.
is just crazy to say.
I get it.
So after leaving, getting back around to enjoying music again has been a big, big deal. And I'm sure maybe some people, and maybe Maurice's heard of her, but gosh, it must have been like last year when one of my, or well, not one of my, but Jason's sister, my sister-in-law, Shannon, she posted this song from, I think it was Factor or America's Got Talent. And it was a song written by the girl Jane, who goes by Nightbird. And she wrote this song and she
Yep.
performed it on her audition. It was called It's Okay. And it moved me so much that I'm like crying in the car. I'm playing it on repeat. I get to the parking lot at our house and I play it again and I'm like bawling against the steering wheel. And then I went upstairs and showed it to Jason and I'm like in his arms crying. It was
Yeah.
even talking about it makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
But just for an example, when she's saying it's okay in the song, I felt like, this might sound kind of hoo-ha to some people, but I felt like she was holding me and that she was rubbing my back and just telling me it's okay. And it was something that I always wanted my parents to do,
Yeah.
like just to embrace you and tell you that everything's going to be okay. And I didn't have that.
Yeah.
And it just was very, very emotional and very healing. Like
Yeah.
I felt like it pulled this pain out from just like the deepest depths of me
Yeah.
and brought it into the light. And it was just such a wonderful, miraculous thing.
Wow.
And so music is amazing. It's miraculous. I'm so grateful to God for creating music, really and truly.
Wow. It's beautiful.
So those were just two things I wanted to share.
Thank you, Jen. And go ahead, Marisa, say hello to your friend and that just popped in the chat before I do.
Hello, Bubble Caps. Thanks for coming in, darling. Good to see you. I love you, Bo Star. I had to say that again. Bo Star, by the way, Bo Star's little catchphrase is music is life and life is music. How true is that?
It's true. True. Got it. All right, Marisa, you're up first on the next one. What kind of music is most helpful in stressful situations?
Again, I would have to say that kind of depends on the nature of the situation because there's all kinds of stresses.
Well, sure. Spell it
stress
out.
From, let's say, we'll just not to not to name names, but if it's from a significant other or someone who once was a significant other, I'll usually go to the Beatles or the Monkees and play something appropriate to however I'm feeling at the time. If I'm feeling, more tense about maybe my health or health concerns or just the state of the world at large, I enjoy folk music. I enjoy classical music. I enjoy jazz. Jazz is really a go-to for me to just generally chill out.
Yeah.
And show tunes really can match any emotion as well. Sometimes I feel like singing, and if I feel like singing, I'll go to the show tunes. If I just want to listen and experience, then I'll go to jazz or classical.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I'm not ashamed to say that I like some show tunes, not all. There are musicals that I'm not a big fan of, but there are a lot of them, more of them than not, that I enjoy, or at least like a few songs from them. And part of that is because I grew up with them. I remember I mentioned my grandparents on the Crip side. They had lots of albums, and they had some of the show tunes. Sound of Music was one of them. West Side Story, Jesus Christ Superstar. Those three were played a lot when I was growing up. I know people have an issue with Jesus Christ Superstar, but my gosh, it was a very well done rock opera, in my opinion. And I don't have to agree with the theology that's represented in that, particularly that at the end, after his crucifixion, there's no resurrection. It just ends. And that's not at all what I believe, but there were still some things in that match scripture, and musically, I probably know all the words from that entire album. Same thing with West Side Story. In fact, my sister and I used to dance around in the living room to West Side Story, pretend like we were part of the cast. We'd seen the movie and stuff, and know a lot of that music too. So anyway, what kind of music is most helpful in stressful situations? I like what Marisa said. It does depend on what kind of stress it is, particularly if it's work stress. If I'm stressed out because of my job or whatever, I always listen to Workin' Man by Rush. I love that song. Rush is a great band, Canadian band, trio, in my opinion. And their music, if it's work stress, that particular song and their music in particular, for some reason, really helps me feel less stressed. You'd think I'd listen to something soothing like classical or something like that, but that's not the case. Relationships, if I'm having trouble in a relationship, which has not been the case for quite some time, at least ever since I met Jen, but in the past, girlfriend or whatever, again, it's kind of the sad music, and then some of the I hate to say it, but some of the angry, like in the 90s, some of the, bring me one step closer to the edge and I'm about to break, that sort of little bit rage against the machine, things like that, things that allowed me to express anger without me breaking things, or I would never lay my hands on a woman at all. But that's why the music played a big part in a stressful situation for me. So yeah, I'll give those two examples. There are probably other examples like financial stress, the softer music, hymns, encouraging hymns, or Christian music is best in financial situations for me. Help me feel more grounded and things like that. Yeah, so that's my answer for that. What about you, Jen? What kind of music is most helpful in stressful situations for you?
For a while, I would actually listen to like audio clips of like birds chirping and like meandering streams. That really, classical is good too. And I know it's God's music. It's like nature. Nature has always brought me such peace. And I do think it's music in a way. It's just different. It's a different instrument altogether.
Yeah.
But I would definitely lean on that to sleep and to kind of calm my blood pressure down. Now, hymns are really wonderful. I love hymns. I went through a phase, as I'm sure maybe some of us did as teens, where I just was like, hymns, yeah, But the funny thing is, hymns have such a way of really getting down deep into you, to
Yeah.
where before I got saved, I would remember being at work. I worked at Starbucks for a while, and I'd start whistling hymns just like out of nowhere. And the manager was a Christian, and he'd start whistling with me. It was really funny. But I've really gone back to them, like when I got saved in year 2000, I really got into the modern worship, which is very repetitive, and
Yeah.
it's very different from hymns. But I was like, yeah, come on, modern worship. Down to the hymns. Or down with the hymns. But I've completely flopped back the other way and just absolutely love hymns. I love the message, and they're just beautiful, especially on an organ. That's something else I didn't like when I was younger. I was like, organs, old people are. But organs are beautiful. There's actually some amazing videos on YouTube where there are these huge, huge organs. And there's only like so many people left in the world that can play these amazing, magnificent instruments.
Yeah.
But the frequency too, the vibrations that come out of them, we could go through to a whole other rabbit trail talking about that, and the fact that they're called organs.
Yeah.
But yeah, mostly classical. There are a handful of singer-songwriter songs that I'll listen to that are calming and peaceful. But yeah, I definitely went through a phase where I was listening to nature sounds, God's music.
God's music, nature sounds. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, cool. So did everyone answer that one? Well, I think so. Yep. Interesting about hymns. I agree with you, Jen. I grew up, like I said, I've already talked about this, but going to church, my parents and my dad's side of the family, very involved in church. So I had that. And then my mom's parents, they attended church. They were what I would consider, like because they're born in America, they considered themselves Christian. And because of, societally and in communities at that time when they were growing up and having kids and stuff, it was important to go to church in the community. A lot of people did that. And that's the kind of churchgoers they were. I hope that they're both in heaven, but I don't have the same assurity about them that I do about my dad's parents. But anyway, I grew up with the old hymns. I grew up with all the classic old hymns. And when I was younger, I didn't have as much appreciation for it back then. But when I grew older and encountered what is considered, like Jen mentioned, modern worship music, which in my opinion, there are a couple of exceptions, but for the most part, it's just repeating the same thing 400 times over and over and over again. And this is a topic for another time, but it's just interesting to me that the gospel or that the old hymns, you were singing the gospel every Sunday within the words of each hymn. You could open up a hymn book, point your finger to a hymn, and it would say something about the gospel. These modern day worship songs, that is not the case. They might be saying Jesus' name, but it's all about how water is awesome and the waves come over me and blah blah blah. And I feel very strongly about this, and I just can't do it. I have steered away from that sort of thing. So now, ironically, as an older person, I would love to find a church that preached the full counsel of God and the gospel, and also did the old hymns again. So interesting, full circle for me from being a young kid and growing up with that, and being an adult now. And I'm sure they're out there somewhere. I'm sure there are churches out there that still sing the hymns and they refuse to do the modern worship stuff. And if anyone out there listening really loves the modern worship, this is the beauty of opinion, my friends, is that you can love it and doesn't affect me. And hopefully my opinion doesn't affect you. You can do your thing. You can worship God any way you want. And if you do it in that way, great, wonderful, fantastic. All right. Next question. Do you respond differently to live performance of music as opposed to recorded, listening to a tape, record, CD, video, or MP3? If so, what are the differences in the experience? I think it's my turn to go first on this one, so I will do that. Yes, I do respond differently to the different types of music. I want to talk first about records. So I still, I'm old enough to remember when I was a kid, they only had two types. They had records, and that was the predominant part. I mean, other than the radio, but if they played music on the radio, it was generally probably taped. They had that technology to do that, but a lot of times it was an actual record, an album. And I love the sound of albums, and it's becoming popular again. Vinyl, it's ridiculous the prices on some of those things. $50, I saw $50 for a vintage album. It's just ridiculous. So I won't become a collector likely unless God does something with our finances and I have ridiculous amounts of money to spend on vinyl. But I love the sound of the needle being put down onto the wax, and it just sounds deeper and richer to me than MP3 sounds. It just doesn't have the same depth of music. The sound of it is different to me. And then as I started to get older, of course, they had 8-track cassettes. A lot of people listening probably don't remember what those are. But we put those in cars and this big old hunky thing, you'd stick it in there and you could play music. Better than nothing in a car, certainly. And then cassettes were next, more compact, easier to carry around. I had a lot of those. I had like 2 of those 48 holder cassette tape cases that I kept in my truck, and used tapes all the time. I recorded my own music, like my own mixtapes and things like that, and loved doing that. Love the sound of cassettes, better than digital still, in my opinion. And then we have the MP3s, which ironically is convenient because I don't have to pay $50 to listen to an entire album online as an MP3 if I want to buy it on vinyl, or even if I want to buy a CD or something that are still available, or something like that. I'm paying way more for it, but pretty much any kind of music is at our fingertips because of the digital age and MP3s, but it just doesn't have the same sound as I think that the old albums did. I miss the record, the little scratch sound of the record. That's just me. Okay, live performance. I have been to many concerts. There are certain people that are horrible live.
Yep.
That I'd rather listen to their studio version of the songs. There are other people that are wonderful live. Wonderful, wonderful. Tom Petty was one of them. I had an opportunity to go see 3 of his concerts while he was alive, and I'm glad I had a chance to do that. Roger Waters, former member of the Pink Floyd, also really good live. And a couple other people. I'm not going to take up a bunch of time with that, but
the Indigo Girls. I'm so jealous.
Indigo Girls, Alanis Morissette. Yeah, I actually went with some friends to Lilith Fair. It was mainly for lesbians and women, but I went because Alanis Morissette was going to be there and some other chick singers that I liked, and yeah, Indigo Girls. What? Yeah, chick singers.
Chick singers. Oh, that was me, bottle cap. Sorry.
We interrupted Crips reminiscing about women lesbian singers that he enjoys. Just a quick moment to say hello to Troy, Soldier Poet. I haven't seen him for a while. I love you, Troy. Soldier Poet, I hope you do more content soon. He is a very wonderful Christian brother in the Lord and a poet as well. And I hope he goes live and does more content soon. Thank you for coming.
Wonderful.
Troy, I didn't expect to see you here. God bless you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Soldier Poet. We're glad that you're here. Thanks for stopping by. Please, everyone, make Soldier Poet feel welcome in the chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, so the live music, I'll just end by saying that the live music is great depending on what band it is. But I do like being in a crowd and the feeling that evokes when there's a group of people that like the band and the music and singing along and stuff like that. What I don't like is certain groups that you pay $150 almost. I saw Janet. She's said she was going to have to take off for the night, but she had said earlier in the chat that she had gone to concerts when she was younger and paid $7 to go see popular bands at the time. The last group that I went to see was Van Halen, when both with David Lee Roth and with Sammy Hagar. So I saw them twice, and we paid $150 for. They weren't horrible. They weren't nosebleed, but they were not floor seats by any stretch. That's just ridiculous, in my opinion. But you pay for it to go to see anyone live now, unless you're just going to a coffee shop or something and there's some person singing. That I almost prefer that rather than paying that much to go see a concert. Anyway, okay, so let's see. Did I have been going on so long? I don't think either of you answered yet. Jen, well, what is do you like live performance of music as opposed to recording, listening to tape, records, CD, video, or MP3? And if so, what's the difference in the experience for you?
I like live the best. I think being able to hear somebody's raw voice or the raw instruments as they are, there's just more emotion in it, I feel like. And also being around people that love music as well, it just creates this atmosphere that's just, you can't duplicate that.
Sure.
At home, listening to anything. But I'm like you as well. I like records. There's such a unique sound to records, and the way they recorded them, it's just, I don't know, it's like deeper.
Yeah.
It's more full, more rich. So I'd say, live would be my top, record next, and the rest after.
Okay.
That's me. Short answer.
Yeah. What's the difference? The last part of the question, so you're just saying it's because the albums are richer and you prefer the live performance because you like to hear the voice.
It's to hear people, to hear the raw talent, it's, because like we were talking about earlier, there's just such an intimacy in music. And even so, if you're listening to a CD or a tape or a track or record, but to be, in the presence of whoever's singing or playing the instruments, that intimacy is amplified, in a way that it isn't if you're listening to an album or something else.
Right.
And then having the collective experience with a crowd, or even in a group of people, if you're hanging out with friends and making music together.
Sure.
There's just, it's just amplified, which is wonderful.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, Jen.
Yeah.
Marisa, you've been very patient. Thank you. So you're up next. Do you respond differently to live performance of music as opposed to recorded, listening to a tape, record, CD, video, MP3? If so, what are the differences in the experience for you?
The only time I prefer a recorded performance is when the actual artist or group just isn't all that in person. That does happen. Some people rely quite heavily on their sound equipment and mixing board and whatnot. But I think the best of the best don't need all that. And if you're there in person, it's a spiritual experience. They're sharing their soul, their spirit with you through their music. And what better way to do that than live in person? I think that's part of the reason some people charge the big bucks. Not just because they can, but it is a richer, more fulfilling experience, in my opinion. And I agree with, as far as the recorded methods, I think the vinyl is probably the richest. I think that's because the sound is actually recorded physically in the grooves on the vinyl.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It like we were talking about earlier, what's the word? I've got my notes here. Let me just look real quick. I don't want to say the wrong word, but I'm talking about where sound can affect physical matter, where the frequencies actually manipulate and move things around like sand or salt or water. Look up in the sky. There's frequencies manipulating the particles in the clouds.
Snowflakes.
Snowflakes. Yeah. Cymatics is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I think vinyl is an excellent example of captured cymatics, and then it's just being played to you. I think that is why it's a richer experience for those who agree that it is a richer sound. Bottle Cap said something about his skull candy earbuds. I can't wear the earbuds; they hurt me. Everybody's made to wear earbuds. I'm not one of those people. If I'm going to wear headphones, it's going to be the 1970s huge clunking, soft padded, all-encompassing headphones that do not cause me any discomfort. I can't enjoy music if I'm complaining about how much my ear hurts. Yes. And one will hold the earbud snugly, the other one it just won't stay in. They both hurt, but one will hold it and one won't. So no to the earbuds for me. No, thank you. But it is much better in person, I think, and I enjoy singing live in my streams because it's happening in the moment for me, and I hope the people that do enjoy what I do are getting the same kind of experience and enjoyment from somebody actually singing live. Sure. Same thing on Floyd's channel. Floyd sings karaoke. Yeah, he's singing karaoke, but he has a beautiful voice, and he's doing it right there live when he does a stream. And he'll do videos too, but the best is when Floyd is live. Same thing with Bostar. All of my musically talented friends, I would best prefer them live, but when they capture them just performing in the moment, that's the next best thing. I haven't been to a concert in a long, long time. And Bottle Cap said something about he's never been to a concert. Am I reading right? I'm an old lady, and what? You're too old to not have been to a concert, Bottle Caps. Come on now. I didn't know if I misread that or what. But if you've never done it, Bottle Caps, go to a concert while you still can. Please do.
Yeah. Well, of course, in 2020, when they decided to make people stay home for a while, all that was done with. Nobody could go to a concert of any kind, and I think that, along with many other things, they just changed society forever. Now there are concerts coming up again, and I don't know what rules there are surrounding that, but I just had this ridiculous thought of people standing 6 feet apart, and being outside for a concert. Anyway, it blows my mind. I remember when I was going on, I was going to make the point, talking about live performances where you pay $150 to see them and they hold the mic out to the audience instead of them singing. I'm not paying to hear the audience. I don't mind people singing along to the songs, but when they stop singing, and to do it for a second or so, that's fun. But big parts of the song, they're just holding the microphone out and the audience is singing. Yeah, I can hear that. I can hear that on my own. I'm so critical. Okay. Next question. Have you ever had or known someone who underwent music therapy? If so, what were the benefits that you noticed? And we'll start with Jennifer on this one. Jen, do you know anyone who's underwent music therapy?
I actually don't. And I feel like I've heard of music therapy before, but not enough to know much about it.
Right.
So I'm curious to get to Marisa, because she sounds like she, I've done art therapy before. I've been around kids that have done art therapy, so I can imagine music as something like that.
Yeah. But
I don't know much about it. It sounds like I love music. I want some musical therapy. Sign me up.
Well, we'll talk to Marisa next, because I don't know anyone either. So that's my really, really short answer on that one. Unfortunately, I do apologize. So, Marisa, have you ever had known someone or known someone who underwent music therapy? If so, what were the benefits that you noticed?
First of all, musical therapy is something that you have to go to school for to be a musical therapist. And I mentioned my friend Stephanie Douglas is pursuing that degree right now.
Mhm.
Musical therapy is a guided therapeutic experience where you are there with a therapist who is educated not only in music but in psychology, and they, like an art therapist, which also takes a lot of schooling, they guide you through certain with a musical therapist. They have their instruments there, or they sing. With autism patients, especially, they've gotten a good response from what I've looked into it, and I'm looking into it for my daughter. She's very musical, and I think she's doing just fine when she sings and plays her keyboard and does her drums right here at home. I'm not saying anything bad against musical therapy or art therapy, but I really don't think you need to go to somebody with a degree in either of those
See,
things to
I
benefit
agree.
from what art and music naturally do. I
Exactly.
think it's another way for the universities to make money and get people to take classes they don't necessarily need to just do something that art and music already do.
Oh,
Great
wow.
point. Beautiful. Where's the
Wow.
I will
applause
go there and
button?
say
Yeah.
that. I mean, I call my stream, sometimes I call it art therapy because it's therapeutic for me, and it's hopefully therapeutic for other people who watch, and some people will get their art supplies out and join me. Same thing when I'm singing. I've heard people say that they'll sing along. You were just telling me earlier tonight that Jen was singing along with me last night.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it
Uh,
made me sing too, by the way. I had gone to the restroom and I came back out and heard Jen singing, and there's a little bit of delay because I'm listening in my office. So you had finished singing by the time I got back to the office, but then it was in my head. So of course, I wasn't on with you. So I was just kind of singing that song because it was in my head then. But you'd already moved on to something else. But yeah, so absolutely.
so I have not signed Diana up for music therapy as of yet. I don't know if I ever will or if I need to.
Right.
She's pursuing music and enjoying music and experiencing music on her own terms right
Lovely.
now as it is in her life. And same thing with art. I don't need or feel the need I should be signing her up for that if she's already experiencing the fullness of art and music already in her life. I
Yeah.
don't see, other than another time to have an appointment and another bill to pay, what going to a licensed art or music therapist can do for me and Diana,
Right.
particularly. I'm sure there are other people who would benefit from those things greatly.
Mhm.
Um, but my household is full of art and full of music every single day. So I don't think
Yes.
I need to worry about, a lack of that going on. I
Right.
don't know anybody who's gone to either art therapy or music therapy. I just know people who have given me positive feedback regarding my streams who enjoy the art and or enjoy the
Of
music
course. Yeah.
and have expressed that it's been therapeutic to them
Yeah.
personally. And I know it's therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, so don't feel that you necessarily have to run out and make an appointment. If you want to,
No.
that's great. They can guide
No.
you through certain issues, certain feelings, give you certain exercises to do. Okay,
Yeah.
some people enjoy that or want that or need that. But I
Yeah.
think you can benefit from art and music just as it is without having someone hold your hand every step of the way. You're going to
Right.
appreciate art and benefit from it. You're going to appreciate music and benefit from it if you're just open to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's all that it really is just being open to it and giving yourself the opportunity and the
Yeah.
time to experience
Sure.
those things. Let the art and music do what it's there to do.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Thank you. Yeah. So the couple things, you're talking about music therapy, and I'm not as familiar with that, but art therapy, yes, that's a real thing. But I agree with what Nez says, and this applies to any kind of therapy out there. You don't need to take a class for it. You can just, if I think there's therapy, even if you're not an artist. When I do envelopes, when I'm writing Jen a letter and I do like little designs on it, it is therapeutic. I used to really enjoy art. So I love that Nez, she tells people all the time, just do it. Just get out your paper and just do something. I do believe it's therapeutic. My mom, who was a counselor, she worked with kids doing play therapy, and it is what it sounds like. It's amazing to me to hear the stories of kids whose parents are so detached and so neglectful that they don't play. So my mom would just get some games out, and for an hour or however long would just play games with them, and they were so moved by that. Amazing. And I actually got to she had me help a lot of times with homework and things like that, and I got to play games with these kids, checkers sometimes, and other games, sorry, just playing games with kids, and you could see the change in their expression. Also, I was involved. I didn't take a class in it, but my mom convinced me to work with the kids because I'm an actor, writer, director kind of person in the theater genre, and so she had me, give them little scripts, and I wrote little scripts for them, and we would act out little plays and stuff. And they seem to really respond to that. You don't need to go to school for that. You can go try out or audition for a community play in your area. And I believe I've done it a lot. And for me, it was therapeutic. So my point is, you don't have to go to college to get permission or get a degree or a signed piece of paper saying that, yes, I'm in musical therapy or art therapy or play therapy or anything like that. You can do those things on your own. You don't need anyone to give you permission to do that. So I love that Marisa tells people, it doesn't matter if other people like your art or not. If you enjoy doing it, do it, because it's therapy. And I just really love that she does that. That's like the third time I've said it, but it is very encouraging. And you know what? Someday if I'm ever invited, when she does her streams with the art, I mean, Jen uses my phone, so we'll have to get a better phone for her so that everybody can see her drawings. But when that happens, I can set up a little thing in my office, and I'll do an envelope to Jen and just do my little my little doodle designs, and I believe it'll be therapeutic. I'll get to hear Marisa sing in the background, and some of them, if I've got a live mic, if I know the song, I might be able to harmonize with her some. It'll be a fun time. So I look forward to that.
Sweet.
You are more than welcome, Crips, to join us with our having fun with our calm art therapy sessions. Absolutely. Get your camera situation under control where we can see what you're doing. And we'll do it.
Well, thank you. The other advantage to getting Jen a better phone is that you have encouraged her to do something on her own channel. She already has a channel. I think she has already 38 subscribers, and there's nothing on there. So she has friends there's no content. So
your audience awaits you, my dear.
It's
your
ready-made.
Awaits you.
It's ready-made, and people just love you, Jen. So if you were to ever do something like that, don't they?
They do. And Jen, if you wonder sometimes why I bug you and ask you if you want to paint sometimes, even if it's in the middle of the week, because it is a therapeutic outlet. Even though may have a rough time, sitting down for an hour and doing some artwork might just be what the doctor ordered.
Yeah,
that's very true.
If I feel led of the Lord to ask you, hey, you want to do something tonight? It's a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and you're like, what? Don't worry about it. I'm asking because you never know when you might need a little art therapy.
I love it.
So
that's
true.
why I just love you, and I like doing art with you. But sometimes
I like doing art with you.
I think you just need to take advantage of that a little more than once a week. You might need to do it a little more often. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll go live with Floyd, during the week, just because it feels right and it feels good.
Yeah, beautiful.
I'd like to sing more with you, Marisa.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I want to see you get to. Want to hear my secret hope? Don't tell anybody. My secret hope is that Jen, our starling swallow, will get to the point where she produces content on her own channel and where she does her own live stream where she can sing, she can make art, whatever she wants to do on her own damn channel.
Stop taking up room on mine.
You got an audience waiting. And if that is encouragement, I don't know what is. I know you've been very well received, and people love you from the Nez Studios world. And I hope you will move forward in time to give the people what they're waiting to see and hear.
Thank you.
See, she's so encouraging.
She is so encouraging. She has a
You can do it. You can do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Just do it. I love it. All right. Last question. Can we benefit from music in therapeutic fashion without seeking a music therapist? Well,
Wow, we chewed that to the bone already, didn't we?
We did. We did.
You worded that so well, Marisa, by saying music in and of itself, like art, it's already therapeutic just as is.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need a professional guider.
You don't have to go to a dietitian or a nutritionist necessarily to benefit from the food that God made and provided.
Yeah.
That's kind of along the same kind. Sometimes you need, guided steps or whatever. Okay, fine. But you can still benefit from the things that God made. God made food. God made art. God made music. It's within you to already benefit from those things. Studies have been done about art. Even if you just go to a museum and look at art, there's studies done that affects you, your chemicals, your hormones, producing dopamine and all those things I listed earlier. So don't deprive yourself of. You have a chance to go look at some art, even if it's just in your community at a coffee shop. Go do it. Somebody worked to make those things. Have a cup of coffee and benefit yourself, and at least give the artist a chance to be seen by more people, and that's good for everybody. Same thing with music. There's I know it's not so tightly wound as it was with the COVID but at least now there's more of an opportunity to hear people playing again in coffee shops or in some similar type setting. Some people play out on the sidewalk. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. If someone is expressing themselves with art and music, by all means, and especially if it's free, go do it.
Yeah.
Go do it.
Yep. Okay. We're going to finish answering this question. As Marie said, we kind of chewed it up already, but I just went to check on this topic of Jennifer doing art on her own channel. And she actually has, I said 34, but I was way off. So she has 84 subscribers already on her channel.
Good grief.
So, and they're not all my channels.
I'm gonna pay for this later, but I'm asking everyone to help encourage Jennifer to do art on her own channel. She already has half the work done. She's almost to 100 subscribers. I put the link to her channel in the chat. Now, she doesn't have any content yet, but I just wonder if a few more people subscribed and she got to 100 subscribers, if that would motivate her to do something on the channel. So please click the link in the chat. Go over and subscribe to Starling Swallow's channel. I'm sure a little bit of support from you guys out there would maybe be encouraging to her. So thank you for doing that, guys. I appreciate it. So there you go. That's all I'm going to say about it.
I just wanted to add that there's nothing wrong with subscribing to a channel that doesn't yet have content. I call them support channels because you meet them in streams and comment sections. Yeah. And if you look at their channel and they don't have anything, well, some people say, well, that means they're a troll sometimes. But then I know a lot of trolls that have all kinds of content. So you can't really use that as a means of judgment necessarily.
No.
I like to look at it as it gives someone a choice and an audience if they want to move forward with, and it is a channel. That's what they're here talking with, even if they never, they have a channel they can use. It's just how much are they going to use it?
Yeah.
And I like to give people the opportunity and the choice to have an audience waiting. Should they want to make content? Should they want to go live? And you don't
Right.
have to wait for X amount of subscribers. If you go to a format like StreamYards or some such other, there are many other things. Be Live, my friend Dr. Elo recommends Be Live. You can do it on Facebook. You can do it on many other parts of social media. So don't let YouTube alone decide when or if you're going to go live. If you want to do it, do it.
Do it.
Just do it. What in the world
right.
are you waiting for?
That's right. Okay. I'm with you, Marisa, but I'm gonna have to pay for it later. So we'll just give her a break now.
I know y'all are encouraging me. That's great.
Okay. I just yeah, just didn't want to be too much, but
No,
so
not at all.
a
Well,
couple of
if Glenn was here, Glenn is all for stepping up and doing it and dealing with it and meeting it head on. So in honor of Glenn, even though he's not here, I think Glenn would want you to do whatever you want to do unashamedly, unabashedly, boldly, and just jump in and do it
yeah
should you feel like so, and not worry, not be afraid, say no to anxiety. Don't let Dr. Phil come in and tell you, well, you really should. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to voices like that.
yeah
But
and
you've got a beautiful gift to share with your art as well as your music. By all means, share it. That's one of the reasons God gave it to you. I believe that.
yeah and
Thank you guys.
what I should have said was she doesn't have any art content. She does have one video on there, and Floyd pointed that out. She sang a song with her nephew right when we first met. Around that period of time, I can't help falling in love. It is the most beautiful duet with that song that I've ever heard, and that is on her channel. So you guys have something to like if you go over there and listen to it, and you can hear her beautiful ukulele playing and her beautiful song with her nephew David. And yeah, it moved me to tears when I heard it. And we were already friends, and I'd already met her, but we hadn't gotten into our full on relationship yet. We were just friends, but it was wonderful. So that's on there for you guys. All right. So, well, we've answered all the questions. We have a little bit of time left. So I will read the rest of Marisa's write up, and then we'll decide what we're going to do for the remaining time. We have about 12 minutes left. So Marisa writes, as someone who is musically inclined, I can personally test that music is an essential tool in my emotional toolkit to get through all that this life has to offer. I encourage everyone to partake in music each day, particularly in the kind that uplifts and encourages. If you give yourself the chance, music will do its part. Thank God for music. And then 2 quotes, the music could even penetrate his remote world, more distant than the moon itself. It could even perform miracles. And that's, of course, our friend Paulo Coelho. There we go.
Wow. Did you hear that, Glenn, when you watched the replay? Wow.
Yep. Yep. There it goes. See, when he's not here, apparently
You can say it right when he's not here, right?
Yeah.
When Glenn's here, it's Paulo Coelho.
Yeah.
Paulo Coelho.
Paulo Coelho. Yeah. The last quote is, be mindful, be musical, and stay out of treble. Treble. Stephen Douglas, my musical YouTube friend.
Stephanie Douglas.
Oh, I read it wrong. Sorry. Friend who teaches high school music, is a singer, songwriter, player of many instruments, and is currently studying to be a music therapist. There we go.
Right. That's why she couldn't make my birthday stream. I invited her, and she is a very busy lady. But
Yeah.
she extended her greetings, and perhaps she'll join us another time on another musical stream.
Yeah.
And I wanted to mention I will be, for those who didn't catch it, I did a musical birthday stream on October 1st. Floyd Bingo was one of the people singing, performing, did a marvelous job. Many other talented people were playing and performing as well. If you haven't seen it and you enjoy music, please check out the replay of my birthday stream. It just blows my mind at how many people with talent just shared their gift with everybody for my birthday. Please go check it out.
Yeah.
And
I'll be doing for Christmas.
I'm going to do a stream like that around Thanksgiving to celebrate being thankful. So I'm working on drumming up people for that as well. So there's another musical stream to look forward to. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
What were you going to say, Jen?
Oh, I think, Marisa, you said something about doing something around Christmas as well.
Floyd said something.
Okay, wonderful. I couldn't remember who said it. Cool.
Yeah, say that there'll be no Saturnalia on the studios. I say no to Krampus. So there'll be none of that.
I think we all say no to Krampus.
That's not to say we might not be involving some songs that do honor Jesus Christ. And it has nothing to do with the pagan aspects of Saturnalia and Krampus and all of that hoo-ha. So
cool. I can support that.
So we won't be decking no halls, but we might sing "Oh Holy Night." That's one of my favorites. I love it.
Oh, that's our favorite too. Oh,
yeah, so it sure is. It makes me cry. That the part of falling on your knees.
Sheba was saying something that you have 150 subscribers as of last night.
No,
darling.
No.
Is she looking at the wrong place?
Yeah, she was looking at the wrong.
Oh, that's views. That'd be cool if I had more than 150 subscribers.
Well, your song has the "I Can't Help Falling in Love" has 165 views. I mean, it's a lot for not having not doing content on the channel. It's a lot for a song, in my opinion.
Yeah, with a black screen. Good grief, I need to fix that.
Yeah, you know what? If you were to send me the music, I could put some slides in there for you.
Already ready.
Yeah, you got all the help you want, Jennifer. Gosh, we won't leave it alone, will we, Marisa?
Nope, no, I won't. You want to be mad at me? You go ahead and be mad at me. But when you're done being,
no, ma'am, I'm not mad.
Focus on other things. You can, hey, if you're mad, then do something with that anger and make some art and do it live on your channel.
Yeah.
You can have a bitch and paint stream. You can bitch and paint at the same time and talk about how mad you are.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. What I was saying
go ahead. I'm just going to include the link to my birthday stream so people can experience the many talented musicians if they want to.
Always. Please do. Anytime. Please do. I was saying about "Oh Holy Night," the part about fall on your knees, that part, for some reason, that ministers to me every time I hear it. And one time they did it in church, and I wailed like a child being spanked or something. Just as an adult, just lost it. I didn't care who noticed or if I embarrassed myself. I just was so moved by that. And it's the idea that we're sinners saved by grace, and the fact that God loves us so much to send his son into the world to save us from our sins, and the knowledge of that, and just being convicted that I don't deserve it. And that's what grace is. It's undeserved favor by God. And it just moves me. And there's a lot of quote unquote Christmas songs, regardless of what their original, intention was, that are just absolutely beautiful and moving. And they talk of Christ and grace and God and creation. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So I love it. I love it. All right. We can either fill out the last day. Oh, this is something I wanted to say. So I just posted some people may not be aware that Jennifer and I are doing another channel, which is Narcissistic Abuse Recovery. And I popped the link in there in the chat. If you haven't subscribed, haven't listened to what we're doing over there, please take a second to do that. And we would appreciate it. We are, fortunately, by God's grace, helping a lot of people. and that channel is getting some views and taking off and growing quickly. And we can't really even keep up with how quickly it's growing. And this has been pretty much a crash course for me in learning how to do videos. And then I learned how to do videos, and already we've got plenty to do. I'm not complaining. I love having plenty to do. It's really, really wonderful. And thanks to everyone who's already subscribed, and everyone who listens to this channel, to True Story Live. Thank you for everyone that came over from Marisa. You guys really love her. To come over to our channel and support her like you have, and also have become friends with us as well in the process. Really, really appreciate it. I can't thank you guys enough. Thank you. All right. I think that's it. And like Marisa said, I think she posted her link to her birthday channel stream. It was wonderful. Please give that a listen, and also to Saturday night. And Marisa also put in the link for our friend Floyd. Floyd sings karaoke. Go over there, and he's going to say, don't pay any attention to his channel. Don't subscribe. He might even say, if you're listening, he might even say, unsubscribe. Don't listen to him. Go ahead and subscribe, like, and share. It's very, at least for me, I love watching his antics and his singing and his comments. And he just also started another channel, the early years, Floyd Bingo, the early years, I think. Do I have the title right, Marisa?
Yeah. Yes, you do.
Yeah. So, So please go over there and give him some love. Any other channels, since Glenn isn't here tonight, and he can yell at us later, but anyone else in the chat that has a channel you want to promote at all, Marisa?
I just put the link in for my dear friend Derby Jack. His channel is Derby Jack Christian Blues. He was one of the talented performers for my birthday stream, and the man needs more ears and eyes on what he's doing. God bless him. So talented. Please check out my dear friend Derby Jack on Derby Jack Christian Blues. The link is in the chat.
Okay. Perfect timing. All right, guys, we're going to say our good nights, and I will say good night first. Good night, everyone. Again, thank you to everyone that stopped by and participated in the chat. Thank you. And everyone listening to the playback, thank you, guys, because obviously we have more people that listen to the playback than we do that actually come into the chat. But we appreciate everyone that takes the time. Thank you so much. If you do like what we're doing on this channel, please just do us a favor. Tell someone about it, like, share, and if you haven't subscribed, please do that for us as well, because that tells YouTube, it tells the algorithm that despite our size and the number of subscribers, that people do appreciate the content. And that's the only reason why we're asking. Normally, it wouldn't matter to me whether people subscribed or liked or commented, but in order to get the channel out there, get past the gateway of the analytics that they've set up, we need more to get that done. We want to reach as many people as we can, and that's the bottom line. We're not making any money from this channel or anything. That's not the goal for this channel. But we definitely want to get it out there to as many people as possible. I don't think Glenn would ever, I think if we monetize this channel, I might be wrong, but I think Glenn would probably walk away. So we may never monetize the channel, at least while Glenn's around. But we still want to get it out there. So thank you for that. Good night, everybody. Hope everyone has a good week. Join us next week. I don't know who's going to be doing the write-up next week, but we'll figure that out. And hope everyone is doing well with their health. If you have any prayer requests, please pass those along. Jen and I do pray, and Marisa does as well. And so pass along your prayer requests. You can put those in the chat at any time that you feel so led. Thank you so much. And Jennifer, take a minute to say goodbye to the people. So if you have any closing comments about anything, please give them.
All right. Oh, I didn't know you were done.
Yeah, I'm done.
Good night, everybody. Thank you guys so much for the encouragement. I really appreciate it. There's not a blushing emoji, I don't think. I was trying to find it. I was like, oh my gosh. This has been a wonderful discussion, and I'm actually kind of, it's shifting a little bit away from some of the other emotionally charged topics that we go toward.
Right.
Which was nice. It was a nice break, and just very out of the box from what we normally do. But I welcome that with open arms. I think music is a great topic, and talking and sharing and discussing. It's just been wonderful. So thank you, Marisa, for the wonderful write-up. And Glenn, we miss you. Hope all is well. We're praying for you. And if you guys have any prayer requests, please pop them in the chat. We would love to pray for you. And we also there's a handful of Nez Studio peeps in the chat that are also prayer warriors. So they'll pick up on that as well and pray for you guys. Have an awesome night. Have good sleep. God bless you. Have a great week, and we'll see you guys next Sunday. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Jen. And last but certainly not least, Marisa, if you could say goodbye to the people, and if you have any closing comments, please give them, and close us down for tonight, if you don't mind, please.
Don't worry that it's not good enough for anyone else to hear. Just sing a song. And there's a lot of wisdom in that song. That's right. La, 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 la. Please get back into the music if it's been a while. And I agree, it's nice to take a break from the emotionally charged topics we cover, but it's important to remember the things that help us get through those things that are emotionally charged. Where would we be if we didn't pay homage to things that help us through, like art and music? Again, if art therapy sounds like something for you, by all means pursue it. But I'm of the belief that you don't necessarily need to do that. Just let the music do its work, whether you go to a live performance or go to a live stream where music is being performed live, or you just listen to videos or CDs or what have you. Just get that music in your ears some way, somehow. The benefits, we've listed them for you, and there's more than we could list. And I really believe God made music and made it to do exactly what we were talking about tonight, to help you, to build you up, to encourage you, and to get you through those rough spots on the road of life. Thank you all for being here. Love to Glenn and Sandra, and prayers certainly. And God willing, we'll see you all next week, Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on True Story Live. God bless you all, and good night.